regardless of what caliber, what type, what size, what weight of gun you choose, consider these three things. But there are two other subjects that I want to touch on that you really should think about if you're going to get your concealed carry permit, or if you already have it. And if you haven't thought about these things and you already have it, shame on you. The last little while there's been a big push on getting your concealed carry permit. Well, I'm here to tell you that I've been carrying not for just the last year, 2, 5, or 10 years, but I've actually been carrying very consistently for the past 15 years. While there's many things that have stood out to me in the past 15 years about concealed carry, here are some of the few that have been kind of the big major players. Get yourself the right gun. Now this is a big topic and it entails a lot. And getting the right gun, well, the right gun for you may not be the right gun for me. Maybe somebody's willing to carry a full-size revolver, all steel, very heavy .357 caliber. And if that's what you want to carry and it works for you, hey, more power to you. Or maybe you're more of a 1911 guy. This style suits you. Again, more power to you. Or maybe you run around the camp of the polymer pistol, be it Glock, XD, one of the new Smith & Wessons, and you like it very small. Again, whatever works for you, that's something that you have to decide. Okay, maybe not one of the better ideas. Price is going to go into that. Concealability. What is your environment like? Meaning seasons. Is it summertime? Is it always winter? How does that affect concealed carry? Well, depends on what you wear. We'll talk about that too in just a minute. Other aspects you want to consider about the quote-unquote right gun is, do you have a safety on it? For example, these 1911s have a manual safety. Some people prefer manual safety while others do not. One thing you have to consider is if you choose a gun with a manual safety, you better practice with that gun and taking the safety off. And the age-old question, caliber, which is best? 9mm, 40, .357, 45, .380. Well, that debate I don't think is ever going to be solved, and that will rage on until the end of time. Basically, I think choosing the right gun boils down to this. Regardless of what caliber, what type, what size, what weight of gun you choose, consider these three things. Find a gun that you shoot well. Find a gun that you're willing to carry on a regular basis. And find a gun that contains the functions that you feel are necessary. Here's one last note on that subject. You might carry for a time span of 2 years and find that your preferences for the type of concealed carry gun that you have change. Be open to that. The next subject is find yourself a good holster. Oftentimes what many people do is they try to get away with going with a cheap holster. By and large, what I found is you get what you pay for. However, there are a few holsters out there that are inexpensive that work very well. Now, just like guns, holsters come in all different shapes and sizes. For example, all leather, all Kydex, with a little bit of flash. Is this something suitable for concealed carry? Is it not? Again, a lot of this is going to depend on you. Personally, I tend to favor inside the waistband or IWB carry. For me, that conceals the gun the best, and that's just what I like. My favorite place to carry is on that hip, strong side, 3 o'clock position. Now, a lot of people, this might be uncomfortable for. I've talked to a lot of my buddies, and they don't like it because they've got a little bit extra there hanging on their hips. Love handles, right? So it's uncomfortable for them to carry directly on the hip. So a lot of them, what they'll do is actually move it around to about the 4:30 position on their back. And for them, that works better. Here's something else to consider on where to carry. What if what you do for your job, and it's allowed to carry, is drive all day long? Well, you know, maybe on the hip isn't the best place because that seatbelt comes over and might make extracting that gun difficult. So maybe an ankle holster might be better. Again, what gun are you carrying? This in an ankle holster? Probably not. This in an ankle holster. Okay, now we're getting more into the realm of possibilities for that type of carry. So you can see how a lot of this stuff just kind of interweaves itself into your decision process. Now, most of you have probably heard the phrase, dress for success. That phrase applies to concealment carry as well. And what I mean by that is how you dress is going to affect your concealment. Or your concealment is going to affect how you dress. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, it kind of depends on you. What I have found is I live in an area that we experience the 4 seasons. Summer, obviously you're wearing a lot less clothing than you are in winter. So winter, it's a lot easier to conceal a gun than it is during the summer. Switching gears just a little bit so you understand my philosophy a little bit about concealment, and it is this. It's much the same as poker. When you're playing poker, you're not going to show everybody your hand. That's kind of how I feel about my concealment. I don't need to advertise it. I want to keep it concealed. In talking conceal, you're going to go back to what type of gun you carry, what type of holster you carry it in, and the way you dress. Again, you can see how all of this stuff is interconnected. And again, this has been my experience in the 15 years of carrying a gun on a very regular basis. Alright, we've talked about what type of gun, what type of holster, the type of clothes that you wear, where to carry it. Kind of the, shall we say, fun stuff about concealed carry. Kind of the gear talk, the stuff that we like to really discuss. But there are 2 other subjects that I want to touch on that you really should think about if you're going to get your concealed carry permit or if you already have it. And if you haven't thought about these things and you already have it, shame on you. The first one is understanding the laws of your concealment in your state. Not only the laws in your state, but possibly those states that surround your state in case you travel. Or if you travel on a regular basis, what state are you traveling to? Is your permit valid there? Do they have different laws? These are important things to understand. And the last one, why do we carry concealed? We carry concealed so that we can protect ourselves or our family in a life-threatening situation. Think about that for a moment. What does that really mean? Are you ready? Are you willing to pull that gun in a self-defense situation and pull that trigger on another human being? Now that might sound like a silly question that most of you are going to say, yes, of course I'd be willing to protect my family or myself in that situation. But it is a question that you need to think about and you need to consider. Now, is this something that we look for? Is this something that we want? Absolutely not. This is going to be a last resort. And one of my big things is de-escalation. Well, 2 really. Situational awareness, first and foremost, and de-escalation. Situational awareness, you end up avoiding a lot of the problems. If something does happen, de-escalate, de-escalate, de-escalate. That's what we want. I really didn't get into specifics concerning these subjects, kind of just a broad overview of some of the things that has stood out to me being a person that has carried for the last 15 years on a regular basis. Again, there's a lot of other subjects that have stood out to me over this 15-year period, but these were some of the main ones that I thought of first and thought it might be interesting to share. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you later.